Hi, beautiful light beings. My name is Bo Derrickson. Thank you for joining me. We came here on earth to seek the remembrance of God. And I know and I feel we have all come to this knowing by now. Um, but what does that look like, seeking the remembrance of God on this planet? Um, this presence of or this beingness is not something that is how do you explain that? It's not something that you can actually do. It is a presence that you carry in you in every single thing that you do. So it's not the thing that you do that will seed um, the blooming of um, God remembrance, but it's um, the presence and the consciousness with what you are doing that will make the difference. And this presence, this consciousness is not defined by any form. So therefore, it's so difficult to translate um, form into um, God presence. But what I do know that is there's a certain group of souls who have been alchemizing and crystallizing um, the not natural into the natural, and they have been doing this for multiple lifetimes. And we have come here with the gift of remembrance. And that can come with quite some challenges because what is being perceived as useful in this society is not at all what our gift is. And I know everyone, a single one of you can recognize this. Our greatest gift to this world doesn't lay in how smart you are, how strong you are, how productive you are, how social you are, how ambitious you are, even how motherly you are. It's none of that. It can be in that, but it's not in there. It's the quality of being that we bring to this world. It's the depth of being that counts. And then it really, really doesn't matter if you bring that depth of being into being a mother, or into cleaning your house, or into talking with your neighbors. Because we can see ourselves as generators, those big energy houses that vibrate frequency, and that's all we need to be doing to shine our light and the frequency that comes with it, and just to vibrate this. And a lot of us have been wrestling with not feeling connected with with their environment at the moment. I hear a lot of people talking about this, including myself. Um, the spiritual path is and can be a very lonely one. Um, and not everyone is hearing this call. Not everyone is here to be light, just to be light. That is our main purpose here. And often we are being placed in areas on this planet where it's needed. There is no use of more light where there is already a lot of light. There is only use of light where there is a need of light. So we are really being forced to grow up pretty fast, and do the inner work. Like what do we do to hold ourselves back still from that purpose? We there is this such a strong conditioning about who we ought to be, what we ought to be doing, and what we are is so in contradiction what is um, being shown and being manifested and being taught in this in the society where we live, in the world where we live. And giving yourself the acceptance and giving yourself the proof of your beingness is a very important and very valuable gift to give yourself, because you're probably not going to get this a lot from your environment, because they simply don't have what it takes to see you in your whole being. They can see only to the level that they are able and capable of seeing you. So they will pick only a small part of you, and it's probably true that, oh yeah, this is part of me, that's true, but there is still a whole consciousness around it that you're sort of missing. And I laugh about it, but at the same time it can also be damn lonely. It's just connecting with people. There is also a lot, only a small part of you that's being touched, and still a very large part of it isn't. But that's something that we all need to learn how to bear. And I think the most important part is learn how to detach. A very profound attachment for me in my life has always been this: nobody sees me. Nobody sees me in my whole depth. There are not a lot of people who can connect to my true essence. And I'm not talking about whether it is right or wrong. I can pick a side here, but it's not necessary, because that's not why I brought this up. Uh, I'm sure all of you guys have wrestled with this concept, but try to take a look at what part of you is believing in this one. What part of you um, feels a lack of connection, feels a lack of understanding. I've investigated it for myself for a while now, and I even discovered It's a very smart pattern. I even discovered when there is a situation that you encounter where you really feel the connectedness in a deeper sense, and you're really being touched in your whole, that should be enough, because that's what this thing wants. It wants to be connected in the whole of their essence. It wants to be seen in the whole of their essence. But does it stop there? This, I think, is the most important thing. Does it stop there? Or does that part in you say, it's not enough? I know for a fact it will say it's not enough. And then you know what this is. This is addiction. This is fragmentation, the fragmented self that is not in connection with the whole of your conscious. It's not for nothing called a fragmented self. This is just a small fragmentation that acts from a lack of something. It doesn't act from the consciousness and the knowingness in connection with source. Because it's totally fine to have longings and desires, it's just human. But if it becomes so much important in your life that it degrades your quality of living, that it gives you a lot of sadness, and maybe for some people even further, it can create depression in your life, then it's really time to start investigating what is going on here. It's okay to say, oh, I would love to have a conversation or a connection with someone who can vibe in the same way. It's okay to have that longing, but it becomes a problem when you demand that that is something that you want right now in your life. And so that is the difference between listening to healthy hunches inside of you that we need as a human being. As a human being, we need to eat, we need to drink. It's also healthy to connect with other human beings. It's healthy to be touched and to touch, all healthy things. But the moment it becomes a mental illness, when it really starts distorting your stillness that you are, then there is some inner work to be done. And I have been seeing this for quite a long time in myself. I have done a lot of peeling over the years, and the ego is a very creative and intelligent thing, and it will always find something. It will always find something to go after, to be in search of. That fragmentation, the fragmented self, will never be satisfied with the here and now, because it's simply a survival mechanism. And the deeper we come to our core self, the more sublime and the more intelligent and the more creative this ego becomes. And I know for a fact, for me, maybe one of the deepest, but what the hell I know, maybe in the future it will come with even a more sublime search or question. But for now, the one is when there's a story popping up in my head, is the story of there are no people in my surroundings that really see me, that really connect with my essence, that really can really understand me. And the only thing that is needed in that situation, the moment that narrative arises, is to have a genuine, how do you say that? That you genuinely see it for what it is, and in that instance, stop it. To stop the narrative the moment it pops up. And it sounds more easy than it is, and actually it is quite easy, but some stories, some narratives we have been so glued with, so it became us. It became just there's no separation between it anymore. If we have been telling ourselves this story for years and years and years, um, then it's a challenge to see the narrative for what it is, and to also see it's keeping us away from the stillness that we are. And at that point, in that instant, just stop, so we can return back to the stillness that we are. And it will not succeed immediately, maybe the first few times you just recognize the narrative, and maybe you will walk around it the whole day, or it will ruin a whole morning, or it will ruin a whole day. But that's okay, just be aware. Just recognize the narrative. That's the first step. Recognize the narrative. When we start recognizing the narrative, there's a distance already been created. So it's not you anymore. You see that there is something going on that wants to take control over your life. So there is no doing. And the more we start embodying this, the more we start understanding this on a very deep level, the more we can become that soul that is here to seek that remembrance of God. Because if we are still chock full of narratives, we cannot be that seed of remembrance. We cannot be that, we cannot fulfill that purpose. We first need to purify ourselves, and since we know we have the tools for it, we can do that in a pretty rapid pace. But it's also, we know, and I know a lot of souls who have the ability to um, to purify themselves, to burn the impure in themselves, but there also needs to be a willingness. There is still free choice in everyone. So, but I do feel so strongly, and I see it in my own life too. Like, um, of course, we have a free choice, but the moment we choose something that is not coming from our essence, we will never be fulfilled. We can choose. We are free of choice. We can choose other directions. We can choose not to wake up. That's a choice. But we will always remain unfulfilled. We will always remain in search. True fulfillment for us means we need to purify ourselves, and this is the time to purify. This is the time to stop, to stop, to to simply stop. I think it has been enough. We have done this for so many lifetimes, and a lot of us know how to stop, but There needs to be a willingness. Much love.